Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I said welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast with Andy Ruther and Joe Prano. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast.
Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Bedford Hills, New York, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy. You nailed that one this time.
I nailed it. The 4.5 minutes that no one will ever see.
The 4.5 minutes no one will ever see. We started the show. You didn't hit live. I came out with aggressive hot takes that I'm not going to repeat. You know, like had I even as I was saying some of them, I was like, I regret this. This is going to send the Reddit into a tailspin again. I'm not going to do this. I'm not making the mistake anymore. I can't deal with the fractured dirtball fam that has occurred. I'm not going to do this hot take next week. And then I was like, no, I don't even have to do it today. Andy forgot to press live.
Yeah, I pulled a Trevor. Luckily, we were only 4.5 minutes.
Pulled a Trevor. Wow, that's a throwback.
Yeah.
Trevor, hardly know her.
Well, that's a great little promo.
That's why I did it, Andy.
For our guest today, I'm just going to hold up the book. And I said it correctly before, but then you got me. The True Story of Airplane. Surely you can't be serious. The True Story of Airplane. We're going to have David Zucker, Jerry Zucker, and Jim Abrahams on to discuss the behind the scenes from this amazing book about the movie Airplane, a all-time comedy movie, as we know, especially for all of us, but we all know for me, like this one is near and dear, a legendary.
But it's one of those movies. If you're a true comedy fan, no matter what your particular comedy genre preferences are, it's almost like I would say it's the like the Eminem of comedy movies. Like it's in your top 5 no matter what. And for guys like us, it's in our top ones. But it's like it cannot be denied. It's too great. It's in everybody's top 5.
Oh, I mean, I still do I'm still doing the quotes from Airplane. I can still just rattle them off, and I'll rattle them off. And I like rattling them off to people who don't get it. Like
I was even thinking as the show approached, you know, obviously it would be great for most dirtballs have probably seen it at this point. We had David Zucker on before, but maybe we should do one of the live viewings. Maybe we should go back and do the old school rabble. Throw on Airplane. Everybody cue it up.
Yeah, so we just
after everybody has a chance to read the book, of course.
YouTube Live, right?
Yeah.
So we'll be having those guys on in about 15, 20 minutes. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. You were already hot under the collar.
Well,
about the, and you know what? Let me just say this right now, Andy. I'm so welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to my like the constant state of annoyance I live in that Taylor Swift exists. Football fans, welcome. The water's warm. Hop on in. I've been waiting for all of you guys.
Well, what I said was, and I'll repeat it, the NFL jumped the shark last night. They really did. Because the NFL now, at this point, the NFL, NBC with Sunday Night Football, how that game was produced, I've never seen anything like this. I just want to take it from the top. The first thing they showed was Taylor Swift. And Mike Tirico comes in and makes a Swiftie comment to start the broadcast. You kind of mocked the caller last week. Dude, this is 100% a plan with the NFL and Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Dude, this is 100. Did you see the social media for the NFL?
Yeah.
They literally posted on their Instagram, which I see they've removed that. The bio said something like
2-0 since Swifties came on board or something like that.
It said the Chiefs are 2-0 since Swifties came on board.
Yeah.
The NFL Twitter bio, the background picture is 3 pictures of Taylor Swift. I'm just saying, I saw the NFL has added like 400,000 Instagram followers since I looked at this morning. My point is, are you ready to believe? Because it's 100%, like they're just putting it in our face. The NFL had a master plan with Taylor Swift. I'm fully on board with this. Fully on board. This
well,
is
listen,
all
it would
concocted.
it would at least be a justification for what I said. Like, to me, and I know I upset the part of the dirtball fan population that I didn't know existed. The crossover.
I don't think we have Swifties. We don't have Swifties.
Oh, I think we do, Andy.
I don't think we have Swifties.
I think you're not understanding how far and deep this goes. Some guys have girlfriends and have sisters, and they're just, there's like, yeah, she's right. It's great. I mean, you go to these, you look at these shows. There's dudes there. There's no other reason. Like I said in the Lost 4 minutes, we've made fun of Richie Incognito trying to samurai sword off somebody's head. We've made fun of Chandler Jones brain CTE mush last week. The nonstop OJ jokes in the history of Andy Ruther's comedy career and on the Dirty Sports podcast. No one said anything. And then I was like, Taylor Swift's mid, and some guy's like, you 40-year-old loser comedian, how dare you? Who are you? It's like, well, first of all, you're a fan of my podcast. So
you think I don't think that's a Swiftie.
What do you think?
I think they're just coming at you. They're just trying to talk shit. That's what Reddit is.
No, I think that's triggered. That's triggered fandom.
You think we have some Swifties, which that's hilarious.
Yeah,
you think
absolutely.
There's dirtball Swifties?
Absolutely. It's like when I put up the wrestling joke on Instagram and everybody's like, you're a terrible comedian. It's like, just tell me you love wrestling. Like, every single one of their bios I went to, they're like, the last clip is wrestling. It's like, but like you're telling me without telling me.
But like this whole thing that we witnessed last night, and I'm sure most people are going to agree with me. We've not only have we never seen anything like this. This is the official selling out. I'm gonna like the NFL. You don't have to do this. They literally want Swifties, which again is fine, but it's just like to what extent that they were doing.
Well, listen, the NFL. We've talked about how smart the NFL is. I mean, the NFL did something infinitely smarter than the NBA did. The NBA had to subsidize an entire league to try to get girls interested in basketball. The NFL was like, how about we don't pay for a league? How about Travis Kelce just starts shacking up with Taylor Swift? That'll do it. That'll do it. The NFL's added more female eyes in 2 weeks than the NBA added with 20 plus years of the WNBA.
Travis Kelce added over 900,000 Instagram followers last week. His brother, just as like shrapnel, as like a, as basically from the bomb that went off, the Taylor bomb, added the second most. Their podcast isn't just number one in sports charts. New Heights is number one across the board. It's truly remarkable. But something funny happened last night in my household. My girlfriend, who was like half paying attention, but obviously she heard the audio, just said to me, it's like, can you mute this? I can't do this anymore. Even my girlfriend, who the week before was like,
marry this chick already, Andy? I mean, come on.
She's like, I can't hear about Taylor Swift anymore.
Yeah. And I have friends who were texting me about it and were like, Taylor Swift has ruined my Sundays. People who otherwise don't care. Now, obviously, as I said, water's warm. Come on in. The Taylor, I am the lifeguard of the Taylor Swift hate pool, and all are welcome. We can fit as many people in the pool as can squeeze in. So Ivory does that. I'm actually kind of annoyed at how much I have to hear from other people. I'm like, I've been trying to tell you. You can't text me now. I've been trying to tell you for years.
Well, look, like I think that's where we definitely like. I don't really care. I don't like hate Taylor Swift. My thing on this is you took like
the ultimate media whore, and now she's using your favorite sport for her media whoredom. Because
I'll tell you what, that was a fun game, man. Like you said, the Chiefs come out hot. They're up 17-0. Great comeback by the Jets. And overall, Zach Wilson, that turnover was really bad at the end, which obviously they never got the ball back. But overall, that's the best game I've witnessed Zach Wilson play.
Absolutely. By a long shot against the defending Super Bowl champs.
Like he could drive.
And it got to the point where I was rooting for the Jets.
100%. I was rooting for the Jets all night.
When the Chiefs did something good, not just Travis Kelce, but when the Chiefs did something good, they would show Taylor Swift. And when the Jets were doing good things, we went like an hour without seeing her. And I was like, oh, this is great. I hope the Jets win this game.
Yeah, and it was a great game. Now, there were some questionable calls at the end. The Sauce Gardner call seemed like a late flag. He was definitely grabbing at him.
But it was like a late flag, but then also on the huge third down run. There's like
blatant holding.
Maybe the most blatant hold in the history of football.
So the NFL, I'm just saying this. The NFL for years, they even play off it, right? In that commercial, say it's scripted. Now you're bringing in this whole Taylor Swift and the Swiftie thing. They're not helping their cause as far as the conspiracy that it is scripted, that the NFL is going to want the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, again, for the whole Taylor Swift thing. At this point, I was thinking about it today. The NFL is teetering. It's not going to lose viewers because people are obsessed like myself, but you're teetering on the WWE stuff. Like you're teetering. Are you just wrestling? Are you scripted? I don't know.
And, obviously the Jets didn't win the game, but they were a lot closer than most people thought they would be. And there was some Patrick Mahomes disconnect with his receivers, his safety blanket in Travis Kelce. He throws a pick on throwing to him at one point. I hate to go full ESPN first take round the horn, but like he's sleeping over at Taylor Swift's. Britney's out with Taylor Swift the night before. Is like, do we have hope that this? I said it weeks ago. This ends the Chiefs. This has a better chance of ending the Chiefs dynasty than Mahomes losing his right arm. But like, has this caused any sort of disconnect between Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce? Because they're just not seeing each other as much. Because Travis Kelce's now on a whirlwind tour of he's now Mr. Every commercial. And when he's not shooting commercials, he's got to be walking in and out of restaurants with Taylor Swift.
Well, no, I don't think it does. And also, to go back to the conspiracy, I think the NFL might be doing everything that they can to help the Chiefs because they know. I will be curious when these ratings come out. I think that was the goal to make it the highest rated game ever.
My
on Sunday.
The way I always stomped out the conspiracy theory before was the best thing the NFL has ever had going for it is parity. And the feeling like Bears fans coming into the year, we're going to steal the NFC North. Justin Fields is going to be MVP. Like the delusion that every fan base has that they're going to be good every year. You don't have that in baseball. You don't have that in football or in basketball, I should say. That was always my stomping out of the Patriots conspiracy. The Patriots fans are always like, the league hates us. And everybody else is like, the league just wants Tom Brady to win. Why? The Chiefs are a dynasty. They're a budding dynasty. Why do they want to pump up the Chiefs? Why don't they have Taylor Swift dating, Darren Waller? Besides the obvious fact of why Taylor Swift's not going to be dating Darren Waller.
Because he's black?
Because she's still a basic white girl who was her last boyfriend was a neo-Nazi. So it's weird for her to go to Darren Waller after that.
But go back to the Instagram thing. And I don't follow the NFL on Instagram. Are they doing that stuff for other people? I mean, they're literally right. Like, are they really? They're 32 teams. They're saying the Chiefs are two. Like, you're highlighting one of your teams. I could be wrong. Do they do that in the bios? Does anybody know?
No, they don't. Of course they don't.
It's nuts, man. I really wanted the Jets to win. I was so pulling for the
same
Jets, man.
100%. I wanted that. I wanted the actual combos today. I wanted Stephen A. Smith. She's ruined the locker room. They're never winning another game. She's bringing Hugh Jackman, Blake Lively. Blake Lively was the only lively thing on the Chiefs sideline. That's what I wanted today when they lost.
I don't think they did though. I think they got a directive. I'm telling you, man. People might think I'm crazy. I think these things are way bigger than people think. Like this is the NFL. This is NBC, ESPN. It's everybody. It's like we're gonna all get behind this. We're trying to, like you said, get the NBA subsidized the entire WNBA. It didn't work. We're gonna try to get a whole generation of younger fans. And what better way to do it than do this?
Well, Andy, the Jets didn't win.
I know.
But I'll tell you one time the Jet did win. Not to spoil a 40-year-old movie, but in Airplane, the Jet wins. Great segue, isn't it, Andy?
That's a good segue.
Thank you.
It's a great segue for our guys who are going to be on here soon.
Well, they're all ready to go. They're all in the waiting room. I think we get.
Oh, they are?
I think we get to.
Are they in the waiting room?
They are.
Okay. So
I think we get to everybody and we come back. We got a lot of football to discuss. I don't even think we're necessarily done with Chiefs Jets, to be totally honest with you.
Really?
But we can come back to that. Maybe we're
okay.
Honestly, I forget what we've talked about on air, and I forget what we've talked about in the last 4 minutes. So
it was just 4 minutes of airtime. All right. So because I'm looking and it looks blank. That's why I was asking if those guys were ready to go. Maybe I'm incorrect.
Yeah, I believe everybody's ready to go, at least according to
okay.
According to my manager, Randy Siegel,
okay.
said the boys are in the waiting room. The men.
Okay. So we have David Zucker, Jerry Zucker, Jim Abrahams. I believe they're all together. Let's bring these guys on. I believe they are not.
Let's see.
We've got David.
We do?
Author.
I can't. Yeah, you have me there.
Well, we've got you. We don't have your picture.
I'm gonna mute him for a second because we got an echo. There we go. Okay, now he doesn't know that I've muted him. So this could be interesting. I'm gonna unmute him.
Welcome, David.
I'm here. Thank you. Yes, nice to be here. Whatever you say in these things.
So we have a brain. I don't know how we fix that.
Are the other? Oh yeah, we definitely have an echo. Sounds like we're doing this over.
So should I put on headphones?
That would be great.
I have some headphones. Let me look for some.
So while he's doing that, I'm muting it. I have on echo cancellation.
Okay.
For him. So there's got to be something on his end. I don't know if he has to put that on himself. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I don't know if you want to.
Should we send David out again? And also, Randy said that we don't have all three yet. We should. You will have all three. I was like, I don't. That's a tough read in the middle of a show. You will have all three versus you already have all three. But alas,
let's just go back to us.
David out. Back to
let
us.
her know. I don't know if when they click on the settings, there's the option to click on. As far as if you go into edit mic settings, echo cancellation should be checked.
Got it.
So
now we shall wait for all three to be in the waiting room.
Yeah. So just so you know, it's I don't know if you see on your thing, there's the three dots up top, and then you click on edit mic settings. Like, is your echo cancellation on there right now?
Audio. I have echo cancellation on.
Yeah. So that's what those guys will have to do. That way we're not hearing everybody. Okay, so let's hop back to this Jets game. What else did you want to say about this? I know it's one game and they didn't win, but that little glimmer, man, Zach Wilson, dude, the lights were on. He played pretty well.
Yeah.
Like that's a big takeaway for me.
Well, I guess that's why I said I'm not sure we're done with Jets Chiefs. What do you think this says about the Jets, that they were the Jets are still 1-3 and the Chiefs are now 3-1, but did any part of this game make you think the Jets are finding something here? Can the Jets win some football games now with Zach Wilson? Is there any part of, whether it be Taylor Swift or otherwise, that a team like the Jets that couldn't score any points against anybody puts up a halfway decent fight against the Chiefs? Is there a chink in the Chiefs' armor, Taylor Swift or otherwise? And do the Jets have any shot of making any sort of run? I mean, we were close to having a 2-2 Jets team and a 2-2 Chiefs team. And in the end, we wake up today, the Jets are 3-1 or 1-3. They've lost all 3 games since the home opener against Buffalo. The Chiefs have won all 3 games since their home loss to the Lions.
So you have a 14% chance. Now, this is not with the 17-game schedule, but based on the 16-game schedule, you have a 14% chance of making the playoffs if you start 1-3. Not good. Now, conversely, I believe I saw if you start 2-2, it's like in the 30s. So it more than doubles the percentage. So starting 1-3 is not good. I did like what I saw from the Jets. Even just coming back, I know there's a lot of issues, and we've questioned. I even tweeted it. They have a better chance of winning with Taylor Swift as their quarterback than Zach Wilson. But I'm telling you, I know it's one game, and they didn't win. He showed me something. He's never showed me something.
Right. No, it's the best game he's ever played in the NFL, without a doubt. I mean, hands down.
So he showed me something.
Made some great plays running the ball, made some great plays scrambling, made some great throws. They finally found a rhythm. They had a drive. Was that to start the second half that they had that drive to? Like they received the kick, went down and scored.
He completed every pass.
Yeah.
He didn't miss a pass. I just think, like, here's the thing. When you're down 17-0, you're on Sunday Night Football, you're in New York, the lights could not be any brighter, and he actually played. I know it just sucks that he fumbled that snap, but you did see his receivers around him at the end of the game. I think it's got to give a little confidence to the defense. Say, hey, if Zach can play, if he can put up a couple touchdowns a game for us.
And everybody, like, that's what's been happening with the Jets is this. The team doesn't believe in him. He's lost the locker room, all that stuff. You see him coming off the field. You see defensive players, telling him good job. You see defensive players kind of saying it's okay after, a bad fumble. Like, I think that's more important than anything. If your team's not behind you, you could be great. If your team's not behind you,
yeah,
it doesn't matter.
No, I agree. I think, look, at the end of the day, that was something. The Chiefs, nothing changes with me. The Chiefs did what the Chiefs do. They find ways to win. Now, definitely controversial calls at the end, though. And it just stinks. That holding call or non-holding call, the big third down on Sauce Gardner for holding again. It's just shitty to end games that way when they were such back and forth fun games.
Agreed.
But the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs, right? Like
Kansas City Swifties.
I mean, yeah, you can't doubt them until they're not playing well, and they might not play well for 2 weeks in a row. But they've made the AFC Championship game every single year. Patrick Mahomes has been the quarterback. They are in a just run, like a dynasty run,
and now they have the NFL on their side, apparently. You know me, Andy. I'm not one to jump on these conspiracy theories in regards to that kind of stuff because, again, like I said, I think parity is the number one thing that keeps the NFL as popular as it is. But if anytime somebody's asking me to dive on board the idea that Taylor Swift is ruining something, I'm in.
Again, I'll just repeat what I said. Has the NFL ever done anything like they did and talked about a team being...
They weren't like the Cowboys are now 2-0 now that Jessica Simpson's been in the house. That's
my point. Like, they've never done anything, to my knowledge, like this. So, it's... As a guy who just loves watching the game, right? Like, at the end of the day, I just love football. Like, I love the NFL. I could watch any game. We all know this. And you obviously made these jokes over the years, Bandy, Andy, and like, oh, which team you're like, dude, I just love watching football. I don't want that. My point is, I don't want that in the back of my head. Like, are you guys really trying to pull some strings for the Chiefs? I don't want that.
But now you're Bandy Andy, and you're loyalties swing day to day. Do you ever, like, every single game I watch, every single game, and this goes across sports, against college, like whatever, like it's very rare for me not to have a rooting interest in one team or the other. For one, either I want to see the thing, either it's going to make for a better playoff situation, or how it affects my team, or whatever. Like, a lot of times I'll root against the Jets just because Jets fans can be annoying to share New York City with. Now, when the Jets are typically out of it, I've always kind of rooted for the Jets. But last night I was rooting for the Jets simply to not see Taylor Swift on the screen.
Yeah.
What was your rooting interest last night? You were rooting for the Jets, but like, why?
I was rooting for the Jets from the start of the game.
Just because you're like, enough of this.
Well, yeah, but also Hard Knocks. I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. Obviously, that's not going to happen. But I like a lot of their players. Obviously, there's a Sauce Gardner connection with University of Cincinnati. I got to see him play a few games in college live. He's a stud. You got a storyline of Zach Wilson. Like, it's an interesting storyline. I want to see the guy do well. Like, I'm your classic kind of root for it because he's an underdog at this point. I don't know.
All right, and do we have all of Zaz in the waiting room?
I think we got Zaz sitting here. I think maybe the thing too is it maybe possibly they were watching live and there was a reverb there.
Ah, got it.
Why don't we bring everybody in?
Okay,
why don't we do that?
David.
There's Jerry. There's Jim. Oh,
Here we are. Hey. Wow.
How did you do it, Jim?
I did
called Randy.
You called, and Randy you push the right buttons?
Yeah, I pushed the right buttons.
All right.
How fun.
Jerry, Jim, David, thank you guys all for being here on the Dirty Sports Podcast. Jim and Jerry, thank you for making your first appearance. David, you're a veteran here.
I've been here.
Sports Podcast.
And you know, that first 4.5 minutes was wonderful, and then you guys never got it back.
And we never found our groove.
You never
again,
found
right?
it, yeah. But I have it. At least one person in the entire audience got it.
I was shocked when these pictures came up. I think, Joe, you could be the winner of the Aaron Rodgers lookalike contest.
That's right.
I get that from time to time, and he was on the sidelines at the Jets game last night on his crutches. I had a very famous stint on crutches, so a lot of our fans were saying, "Joe, you're at the game." Guys,
but couldn't it be Aaron Rodgers who's dating Taylor Swift? I mean, doesn't that make more sense than Travis Kelce?
Seemed like it would have been a better pairing.
Yeah.
And he's a big Swiftie, or so I've been told.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Aaron Rodgers, but you know, there are these videos of him at the Swift concert looking kind of silly.
Last night it was kind of cool because they went back and forth with Taylor Swift and all the lipstick and happiness and joy, and then they go to Aaron Rodgers just kind of sulking and
yeah.
and
It was the two looks into the owner's boxes. Those two very different situations. Her surrounded by celebrities, him alone with his broken Achilles up on a chair.
Oh God! Yeah.
Well, guys, before we get into talking about Surely You Can't Be Serious, which comes out tomorrow, and everybody hopefully will be pre-ordering it today after they hear that. But before we get into that, the first question I had is, all of you guys are from Wisconsin. All of you guys are big sports fans, and specifically, I know David is a very big Packers fan. How did you guys feel about one of the great quarterbacks of all time, Aaron Rodgers, leaving the Packers, going to the Jets, and then also, how did you guys feel when he was hurt immediately?
I felt fine about it. I think we're all Aaron Rodgers fans. So, and I think he was having a big impact on the salary cap probably. So it was probably time to go. They had this kid sitting for 3 years, just like Rodgers sat. And then I was kind of looking forward to rooting for him when he was on the Jets. So I was really looking forward to watching the Jets games.
I think both the Packers and Aaron Rodgers made the right decision. You know,
right. And we were also disappointed because Part of the deal was that if he had played 45% of the snaps, then the Packers get the first rounder. So it was pretty disappointing.
It's really fun to watch Rodgers play. So I was just really disappointed.
When he got hurt, I mean, football is the entertainment business. And there's nobody, including Patrick Mahomes, who's more entertaining to watch than Aaron Rodgers. So, when he got hurt, it's, oh gosh, regardless who he was going to play for, I was always going to watch him.
The Packers have been lucky. We've had 33 years or whatever it's been of MVP quarterbacks, but also both of them were really fun to watch. Favre was too, not just a great a quarterback, but just the way he played, and that was the same true of Favre and Rodgers.
Yeah.
So we're spoiled.
Yeah, you're very spoiled. And hey, hopefully, Jordan Love can be like you guys, just three greats, 1, 2, 3 in a row. You guys can be the you can go Favre, Rodgers, Love. I'm rooting for it. I've always, low key like to see the Packers be good. I think it's good for the NFL when the Packers are good. So we've got your book coming out tomorrow. The audio book also comes out tomorrow. So if anybody wants to listen to it, I had the honor of reading a bunch of the quotes from the book for folks who couldn't read their own quotes for one reason or another. So thank you guys for letting me do that. Dirtball fam out there, if you want to read or listen to the audiobook, you'll hear a lot of Joe Prano reading some quotes from the book. This is a different, it's sort of an oral history of the making of Airplane, the success that came after Airplane. So it's different than just you guys writing a book about it. You have a lot of people that weighed in. And I was, as a super fan of the movie and knowing a lot of the history, I was surprised by a lot of the things that I read in the book. But I've got to ask you guys, who are so closely involved with obviously the making of the book and solely basically the three of you guys, the making of the movie. Was there any quote that you guys saw in the book when it came out, or when you first saw the quote, that surprised you? Was there anything you were shocked to read?
I've got to plug in my battery's low. I gotta go get a cord.
We were surprised. I don't think we really. I mean, some of it we thought, what an interesting quote, that's great, or that's worthy of inclusion, or one thing or the other. But I don't think there was anything that we were like shocked or really surprised by. I mean, which everyone was being very honest in their.
Well, and I think what you don't realize when you make a movie, it's like you go to the office and do your job, and then go home and go on with life. And you don't realize, you're not thinking from day to day, oh gosh, it's still out there and people are watching it and it's affecting them one way or the other. So to hear all these years down the line, the reaction and the influence that it had, not just on all the celebrities who are mentioned in the book, but and just day-to-day people. We did an interview a while ago, and it was an on-air thing, and somebody called in. And he said he was a veteran stationed somewhere in Europe or something when the movie came out, and it was a kind of bleak time in his life, and for the guys he was stationed with. And when Airplane came out, it was kind of a wonderful relief for a couple hours from what they were going through. And again, when you make a movie, you don't realize, especially if it sticks around for a while, who it's going to affect and how it's going to affect them.
So what Jim's trying to say is that watching Airplane is a lot better than getting shot at.
You could just cut to the chase.
Yeah, exactly. Which is true. There's a lot of things. We have a whole list of things. That Airplane is better than, losing your family in an earthquake or
podcasts.
Yeah.
Totally agree there.
one of the you
ahead,
you guys just talked about hearing how it affected people. The book is filled with quotes from absolute mega stars in comedy today: Peter Farrelly, Matt Stone and Trey Parker, Adam McKay, Bill Hader. And a lot of those people don't just talk about how much they love the movie, but a lot of them talk about how it inspired them to start their own comedy careers. Peter Farrelly even says he would not be in comedy if it weren't for Airplane. How does it feel when you hear from people that are still creating comedy today and responsible for a lot of the comedy that's going on in the world today, to hear that not only you inspired them, but perhaps they wouldn't even be in comedy without the movie Airplane?
Well, we actually wrote that quote, and Peter said, "Okay, fine."
Those are all made up. Yeah,
they're all made up.
But
it's the authors.
Yeah, but that stuff is a complete surprise. I mean, we don't realize what happened until we wrote the book and all these quotes came in, and especially the Pete Farrelly. I think his quote was he saw us on. He was in Rhode Island. They had no idea or no intention of coming out to LA, but they had seen Airplane and Top Secret, I guess, and they just assumed we were these drugged out weirdos, and so they saw us on Letterman. I think we appeared kind of preppy and just more or less normal, and they said, "Hey, these guys are just like us. We could do this," So that's why they came out.
I think it was actually they watched us and said, "These guys aren't anything special."
Right. That's what they. Yeah.
We can do it. They're just like regular guys or something, and they don't seem that brilliant. So let's try it.
Well, David, you mentioned you referenced the David Letterman, seeing you guys on Letterman. What I love about a book like this is I love the movie, and I'm one of those people who I can quote almost the whole movie with family, friends, going back. I have great memories of my dad watching it. But what I love about the book so much is that I learn all these insight things, like that David Letterman auditioned for Ted Stryker and that he's just a terrible actor and that he knew it. And I just love reading the quotes of the back and forth with you guys. Was it just like, do you remember that audition? Was it really that bad?
Well, it wasn't really that bad, but he's uncomfortable acting. And so he told us from the start, and but we just liked him so much, and we thought he was so funny. We would go to see him at the Comedy Store all the time. So, and then he had those leading man good looks, and I mean, Jerry was attracted to him, but he kept, but he did his audition. He wasn't, I don't think he was that bad. I mean, he's exaggerating that he was bad and everything, but fortunately we had Bob Hayes, and in the book, Letterman says, he loved the movie and he loved it more because he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
So,
right.
Yeah.
We did go watch him at the Comedy Store when he was doing stand-up. And I'll never forget him when he got heckled. Imagine trying to heckle David Letterman during, he disemboweled these people.
and we just love to sit in the audience and go, "Oh, wow," when somebody would try to heckle him. Yeah.
He was great.
The movie was such a big hit that it was, a career changer for a lot of people. Obviously, you guys put Leslie Nielsen in the movie. This goes on to be his thing, working with you guys and making these comedy movies. But when you think back on this movie, do you ever think about how, like a guy like Letterman, how his career or life would have been different had he gotten in? Or I know the initial casting was Pete Rose over Kareem. How lives could have changed had it gone some other way. Sometimes I like to think about maybe Pete Rose doesn't need the money so bad if he's a big star from Airplane, and he doesn't have to gamble, and maybe he's in the Baseball Hall of Fame today.
Wow.
Well, not that, because nobody got paid a lot for Airplane. It was a very low budget movie. So Pete Rose would definitely not have been able to retire on this, but he would have found something to gamble on anyway.
Yeah, but what a lucky break it was that that we shot it during the summer and Pete Rose couldn't do it, and we got Kareem, and we wrote 2 more pages for Kareem because of that. It was Pete Rose,
there are 1,000 lucky breaks in the movie. I mean, we can go through a whole lot of things that we apart with, and it's all in the book. Parts that we offered to other people and they turned it down, or
Leslie Nielsen. Leslie Nielsen was the fourth choice.
Yeah,
he was.
Or just getting to Paramount. The fact that every other studio turned us down because Paramount was a great place to be, and they really helped us. And they were smart, and they're very powerful distributors. So. But there are 100 things all through our careers like that,
including
sorry, go ahead, Jim.
that we kind of tripped over 0 Hour, which is the movie that we spoofed primarily in Airplane, and we just happened to find that because we used to leave our tape recorder on at night, taping stuff off television, because that's where you would always find the silliest, stupidest commercials to spoof. And one morning we got to work, and what do you know, but we had 0 Hour, which is the same story as an Airplane. And there's actually a line in 0 Hour that says, we got to find someone back there who not only can fly this plane, but who didn't have fish for dinner. And that's like
said completely straight.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I found real quick, Joe.
Ahead,
I found that fascinating reading the book that it was based off 0 Hour, and then I watched. Of course, I had to, and then I watched the trailer for 0 Hour, and I couldn't. Now I have to watch the movie. I couldn't stop laughing, and to think right how they're playing this straight, and then you guys spoof it. When you see something like that, does the light bulb go off and you go, "Oh my God, we can totally turn this into a movie spoof"?
Well, it did when we saw 0 Hour for the first time. We thought it was so serious, and so just hard-hitting drama. And I think our first thought was, well, we could overdub this with our voices, but then that was like a short skip to the idea of why don't we just remake the movie and recast it with Robert Stack and Lloyd Bridges and that style of acting. And that's how it happened.
My favorite part of the book, the making of Airplane, once you guys get the ball rolling, is fantastic. And the aftermath with it being such a success is fun to read as well. But the process of getting the movie made, as somebody who's working in Hollywood and writing in Hollywood and knows the struggle, it's great to see all that you guys went through in just trying to get somebody to give you the money to make this. When you read this book, you see that sort of from the beginning, some people get it and some people just don't. And you guys found enough people that just got it to get this movie made, and obviously proved those people right. Do you see a through line between the type of people that got Airplane from the beginning versus the ones that were just, I don't get it?
Well, it's kind of interesting when they before Airplane came out, they did market research to figure how to spend their advertising dollars. And so they divided the audience into 4 quadrants. Women below and above 20, and men below and above 20. And interestingly, actually, not surprisingly, young men like the movie best, older men second, young women third, and older women fourth. My former wife used to say to me, who was older than 20, used to say to me, it's not my kind of humor. However, it did turn out, ironically, that it was her kind of money.
I actually don't think that.
And that'll be our second book.
Yeah. I don't think very many people understood the tone in casting. There were a lot of funny jokes in it, but when we Paramount saw the first day of dailies, which included I Am Serious, Don't Call Me Shirley, we got calls that said, "Oh, now we get it. Now we see what you're doing." So they thought it could be a funny film. The studio always wanted to kind of fill it with comedy cameos, even though they let us have Stacking Bridges and those guys. But I don't blame anyone for that, because it's not an easy concept to understand. And even if you get the idea of having, Stacking Bridges and Nielsen and Graves, it's hard to understand how serious we were playing it. In other words, you could think, oh, we're going to have those old serious actors, but they're going to be winking a little bit, And what we always told the actors was, don't play it straight. Pretend that you don't know you're in a comedy. Just, in other words, just as though you're being duped. They never told you that this was supposed to be funny.
And Leslie was probably the best at it, but we remember, and we tell the story in the book, in the first table read, everybody's reading, and Leslie was putting a little comic spin on it. And it was hard to explain to him what we wanted. So we actually sent him home with a VHS of Zero Hour. And we said, watch how the doctor acts. And, and he did, and he had it perfect from the next day, throughout his career. He knew how to do it.
When we went to pitch the movie to Paramount and other studios, we actually would take a little projector and show scenes.
Super 8 projector.
Yeah, Super 8 projector, and show scenes. We'd ask them to darken the office, and we'd show them scenes from Zero Hour. So we thought then they would get it, but it really wasn't until the first day of dailies when the studio saw the actual scenes that said, "Oh my gosh!" Now we
and to let us direct, Paramount put it in our contract that they had to have a former studio president, Howard W. Koch, be our executive producer, so he would be there to watch, and they had also the right to after 2 weeks they could fire us. So, and that's why that first day's dailies was so important.
When you guys were in the process of trying to sell this movie, you were very young and you were relatively inexperienced, with no, obviously, directing experience. And it seems like the sell the whole time was, we know exactly what we want to do. And you guys never budged on that. This wasn't a movie that was a lot different from what you conceptualized in what comes out at the end. How, being so young and so inexperienced, did you guys have the balls to just stick with knowing that you were right when you have these mega producers and these big Hollywood studios trying to mess with it all along the way?
We just we never had illusions that we were great directors, but we knew we had a concept that we only truly understood and could pull off, and also we had each other, and that was a big thing. I'm not sure any one of us alone would have been headstrong enough to say, I can direct this, but somehow we fed off each other's desire to do that, and I think that's the only reason we all now have solo careers, is that we were able to start as a trio.
And we were too naive to know it was impossible. I mean, when we left Milwaukee, if somebody had told us the odds against any kind of success, we may have just quit then, but we didn't know the odds, and we didn't care about the odds. We were very headstrong.
And there's so much. The other thing I think Jerry was alluding to, the fact that there were three of us was really helpful, because there's so much rejection in that business that it helps to have, to lick our wounds together.
You said there's so much rejection in that business. Do you guys have any advice for young writers, young directors that are going out and trying to get their first movie made, that just keep getting turned down and keep getting turned down?
Our advice to people who come out from Milwaukee, or their parents knew us, something like that, we'd always just say, forget it. It's impossible. You can't do it. There's no way. Go back home. And then if they still stayed, they'd have a chance, of making it. Because you really do you can't be too easily bruised. I mean, you can be sensitive. That's a good quality for writing and directing, but you really have to be able to survive a lot of rejection. On the other hand, you don't want to be stupid about it if it gets to the point. I mean, the really important thing I would think is to have some way to self-assess or to trust others or something, whether this is really a possibility for you. What happened with us is we had this live show, so we could see people laughing. We knew we could make people laugh, and so that's
and we could hear people when they didn't laugh.
Right. So yeah, we learned a lot from that, but that always kept us going. It was like, we know this is funny, and because we've seen it, at least our sense of humor be funny. So that helped us to push.
And the three of us were not comics, and so, but yet we had to be on stage, and so the material gravitated towards stuff that we could play it straight. And I think that really helped in writing the movie.
So I have to ask that, the movie comes out in 1980. You guys write the book in the last year. Why wait until now to detail all these amazing stories, all these amazing behind the scenes stories about, such a movie that's had such prominence for the last 40 plus years?
Well, just bad investments. We needed the money.
And it wasn't exactly now. We really started this process about 8 years ago.
But when we did start,
took us so long.
When we did start back then writing the book, we sat around and said, should we do this? Should we not? And I think the overwhelming feeling for all three of us was, number one, to how wonderfully shocking it is that the movie was still around and still popular. And we thought it would be great for our kids and our grandkids and whatnot to have a record of what went on back then if they were ever curious.
As I was reading the book, when we get into the actual making of Airplane, it seems like there's a lot of questions throughout the process when you guys will come up with a bit of, will this bit work? Will this bit translate? Will the audience get this? Obviously, when all was said and done, the vast majority of the bits worked. It's why we're still talking about this movie 40 years later. But when you guys look back, is there anything that the three of you across the board can agree didn't work or that you would have done differently?
Well, there were sketches and scenes that didn't work, and we either trimmed them down or cut them in the preview process. We previewed the movie 4 or 5 times around the country at colleges.
Yeah.
And if something didn't work, we cut it out, or if it went on too long, we trimmed it, and that's been the process with all of our movies.
But there's still a few things now that I look back and I cringe at a little bit. Like, maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but the pour every light you can get on that runway, and it's the dump truck with all the lamps and lights. It just, that like seems pretty stupid to me, and it's also not quite within the flow. It's just like and so, but whatever. But I really feel like that. I can't remember the others.
And we ran into some opposition. There's this wonderful joke, I think, when the plane is coming in for a landing, and we cut to a fire engine parked on the runway waiting to help if there's a bad crash. And at the end of the fire engine, there's a fireman with a Dalmatian sitting there in the Dalmatian barks. And we dubbed the Dalmatian's bark with a bloodhound. And which always kind of makes me laugh. But little did we know that there was the International Dalmatian Society that protested, and so for the longest time we actually had a beagle barking in there.
That's amazing.
Wow. That's
not true.
No, that's not true.
I was like, man, PETA, I've heard bad things about PETA, but the Dalmatian societies.
But there was a joke that we shot with this beautiful woman walking through the airport, and then right out of nowhere, she just spits on the wall. And we thought it was hilarious, and maybe we didn't shoot it right, but there's one of those things that the audience didn't laugh at, so we cut it. But I wish that in those days, they had saved dailies, but they didn't want to store that much actual film, so it's lost.
And at the end of the day, we cut the movie to the audience's reaction. The initial rough cut was an hour and 50 minutes long for the original screening. And so we just cut out. You couldn't get out of our way quick enough to get back to the editing room and cut out the stuff that didn't work or try to fix it.
Well, we're just going to give you guys a couple more questions and then get you out of here, because I know you're on a worldwide press tour right now for Surely You Can't Be Serious. It's such a great book. I've read it. Andy's read it. We hope the Dirtball fam will all go out and read it or listen to the audio version.
Yeah.
Three of you guys working together. When you guys have a joke, one of you guys writes or you collaborate on, how does the final say get made? Is it a majority rule, or is this something that you guys all have to agree something is good? It seems like three people's a wild way to write and direct a movie.
Well, we all, I think, contribute to the whole thing, and it really works out toward each individual guy contributing to the movie and making the jokes.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect.
Yeah, it works.
No, it's two out of three, which is why you can direct with three directors or five or seven, but not with two or four.
That makes sense. Yeah. Has there ever been a time where two of you, you laid down the law and one of you just, really couldn't take it? Like you guys swear that joke still would have worked?
We had a 2 out of 3 rule, and this worked on the set. And then, but we allowed for, I guess what you'd call minority rights, which we called screaming and yelling. We described this in the book, and that one guy could say, "I know I'm right. You two guys have to trust me," and that would happen occasionally. And so we would do it, take another way, or somehow change the script, and so we would accommodate that one crazy person, which was usually Jerry.
Now, I know this is sort of the first thing that you guys have collaborated on, all three of you, this book in a long while. Does doing your press tour, does doing the writing of this book together, does this bring back some nostalgia, and does it make you guys want to work together on anything going forward, or is this the beginning of something else?
We're starting all over again. We just signed a picture deal.
Actually, we've stayed in touch and stayed very friendly for all the years since Airplane. A big adhesive has been the Packers.
Right.
We're big Packer fans, and we watch Packer games and stuff together. But actually doing the book and helping do the publicity for the book, it's incredible, at least to me, how the old chemistry is still there.
Right. And all the discussions about the book, and there's a lot of choices to be made, and I wouldn't call them arguments, but we have the same kind of back and forth that we did 40 years ago
and it was really, really fun to be back into it.
Yeah.
We were kind of laughing about how nothing has changed in a sense in the way we talk about things, and it was great. We all used to just really look forward to those sessions.
The other day we were working on the publishing company wanted to do some audio ads, so we kind of helped out with them. We were just sitting around, three of us kind of spitballing ideas, and so the ad for the book says, and we were like I did, just hammering around stuff, and the idea on the book has pictures. Every page has pictures, and every page has words. And somebody said, and every page has its own number. And that's as stupid as anything we came up with 40 years ago.
We're still stupid.
Yeah.
and then we had discussions about, the announcer wasn't straight enough. So, we had to get on the phone and direct the guy and, until it came out right. So just nothing has changed.
Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. We started with sports. You guys mentioned your love of the Packers kept you guys in contact all these years. So we'll also wrap with sports. What's your prediction for the Packers this season? So you're off to just a middling start. Do you see big things from the Packers? Are you hopeful?
I always compare it to Rodgers' first year, where he only won 6 games. So I don't think the bar is that high. They probably, if they could win 6 games, that would be good. We'll draft more people and like that.
I think they could win 9 if Taylor Swift would date Jordan Love.
That's what it needs.
Problem is Detroit is pretty good.
Yeah.
Detroit is.
We're not going to win the North.
No,
that's something no one said since Airplane came out.
I know.
Right, right. Exactly. Whoever would have thought the Lions? Yeah,
you're right.
Guys, thank you so much for being here. I can't wait for everybody out there to read the book or listen to the book. Surely You Can't Be Serious comes out tomorrow.
You can go to the Airplane.
Joe, thank you. Sorry. Thank you for your great additions to the audiobook. Really Joe turned out to be the best part of it. So,
that's right. He's the
star. A lot to the book, but no.
So
thank you.
Go to theairplanebook.com to order it. It's very easy.
No.
Guys, honestly, thank you so much for being here today. And truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for letting me be a part of this. I feel like I'm a part of comedy history in the littlest way, but it really means a lot to me. And we're so happy to have had you on the show. And I can't wait for everybody out there to discover this book. And hopefully for those people who haven't seen Airplane that are listening to this episode, to go and watch the greatest comedy movie in the history of motion pictures.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll talk to you all soon.
Talk to you soon.
I was excited for a second. Jim was the last one to leave. And I was like, oh, maybe sticking around. We're just going to go get a little bit more. Andy, I can't wait truly for dirtballs who are fans of the movie Airplane to read this book. It's fantastic. It's funny from start to finish. You learn so much about the Hollywood process, the writing process, whatever. Guys, get out there and pick up Surely You Can't Be Serious. Theairplanebook.com.
Well, it's like I said, it's fascinating to read the behind the scenes, to be like, okay, Pete Rose was the first guy, not Kareem. Leslie Nielsen was the 4th person.
Yeah.
And things, look, the world is crazy how things work out, right? For people in their lives, for anything. But
Leslie Nielsen being the 4th pick is like Mahomes falling to the Chiefs.
12th. Yeah.
It truly is. Like that's the comedy equivalent of just people passing on Mahomes. It's like it changed it changed football forever. And you can never say how that movie would have been. Leslie Nielsen obviously goes on to work with those guys on the Naked Gun franchise. He was perfect for it. And you get scared at the idea of what if they'd gotten one of their first 3 choices.
Well, that's the thing. Like take someone like me again. So it's like all I knew growing up was Leslie Nielsen as a comedic actor.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy
from
for people of our generation. From Naked Gun, from Airplane. So then reading the book, for me, I'm like, this is fascinating. And I learned later on, obviously, that he had been a serious actor and that they wanted to cast serious and dramatic actors. But all those quote unquote chances, and those were chances to take on these people who never did comedy. It's amazing to me, like, to talk about like a life lesson. It shows when you take chances, there's always a risk of failure. But damn, when those chances can hit like this, look at this movie. And it also proves, like, stick to your guns. When you know something in your heart is true, stick with it, because no one knows better than you. You're right. Like, if these guys could have been put off their spot by any number of criticisms or the studios interjecting their ideas, and they stuck with it. Just like me, Andy. Listen, all those years, people, essentially studio heads and people screaming at me, Russell Wilson, he's great. I'm like, you're not going to talk me out of it. I believe what I believe. And just like Airplane became a hit, I was eventually proven right.
Well, Russ got a dub yesterday.
I know. Couldn't win by 4 though, right? Had to win by 3.
You lost that. It's amazing.
On the hook. We talked about it. I said I don't love the half point. And how about the Bears though? 21. They were up 21-7, I believe, at one point.
Fields with a great first half.
Yep. Hey, you got to start somewhere.
And then he, yeah, man, I'll be honest. That's the game. There was a lot of fun games yesterday. That wasn't really one that I cared about as much.
Yeah. What's there to care about in that?
I mean, look, right now you have some good quarterback play. You have some bad quarterback play. The Josh Allen storyline is fascinating because I was so riding high on Josh Allen. Then I took a huge step back this year. I think you did too. I think a lot of us took a step back on the Bills.
Well, I've never really taken a step back on Josh Allen. I did take a step back on the Bills. I think my opinion of Josh Allen is always just there is a lack of consistency, no doubt about it. And there's clearly a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation. There's clearly good Josh Allen and bad Josh Allen. And I think it's as simple as, sometimes it feels like he tries to do too much.
Yeah.
And I think that the perfect quarterback in the NFL is one that knows that they can do too much when needed, but stick with the script, stay within the game plan. Like even last night in the Chiefs Jets game, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has made some incredible plays in his career, throws that people shouldn't make, runs that people shouldn't make when he needed to. It felt like last night in the game, they're up 17. You don't need to force. Why are you forcing throws? Why are you making sidearm, like soft touch, try to get it over 2 linebacker plays? You could just stay in the groove here and probably walk away with a blowout win. And yet you try to do too much when you don't need to. And I feel like the thing with the NFL is games are never really out of reach. Like, look at how many big comebacks we've had already this year. It feels like Josh Allen occasionally will get down a little bit and then starts pressing and the thing spirals out of control. No one doubts Josh Allen's athleticism.
Sure.
No one doubts Josh Allen's arm talent. No one doubts how effective a runner he can be and how big he is and all that. Like, I've loved Josh Allen out of college because I was like, man, on paper, the guy has all the tools. And again, my small school theory, but you've got to just, like yesterday, he stayed within the game and they beat the shit out of the Dolphins.
I think though a lot as far as flying under the radar, I think that's, let's call it what it is. Like everybody heading into this year, including me, was going, and deservingly so, was going Mahomes 1, Burrow 2. And heading into last season, it was different. It was like Mahomes, then Allen, maybe Burrow, a lot of people Allen. And I think in a way that's helped maybe him, maybe the team. Like, I mean, you see the reversal, right? The Bengals and Joe Burrow are a complete dumpster fire right now.
Absolutely.
And the big contract. My point is
now we have to preface that by saying Joe Burrow's obviously dealing with an injury and Josh Allen was dealing with an injury last year.
Sure.
And all this thing, but style of play, it's all a factor, not to like completely get off it, but like I was a Kenny Pickett guy. I am a Kenny Pickett guy. I was like, oh, he can, I see things. The eye test tells me that like once he gets it, but now Kenny Pickett hurt again. The guy had a couple of concussions last year. Now he's hurt again. It's like those things are just as important, if not more important, then reading a defense, and blah, 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 all the factors. Like, you got to stay on the field. You cannot continue to get better as a young quarterback if you're not playing. And you're not going to continue to get better as a young quarterback if you're not practicing. Joe Burrow, I mean, like you said, the Bengals are a dumpster fire because it's like the guy maybe shouldn't even be on the field.
It's not a shouldn't. He should be nowhere near a field right now. And you know what? That situation, I was texting with Randy Ruther. I said, this is such a mess if you watch these games. And I think it helped that I saw him live 2 weeks ago, right? It's different when you're in the stadium. He cannot put any weight. Like, he can't push his body into that back leg to throw. And for the record, I'm not making excuses for him because people do play injured. But you would agree with me, one of the best attributes that Joe Burrow has is that he's athletic and can move in the pocket. Dude, you take that away. I don't know how much you watched it or any of that game.
I mean, if you watch last night's Jets-Chiefs game, if neither of those guys were able to escape the pocket and do things outside of the pocket, no, either side, that would have been the difference in the game. If either of those guys had been stuck in the pocket,
oh sure,
it's probably like a 10-point victory for the other team.
He was absolutely getting teed off by the Titans. And that's funny. I made that pick with us. We both made the Bengals pick. And then I did the same thing in my pick 6 league. But I had this feeling the whole time. I was like, Vrabel's a good coach, man. He knows Burrow's hurt. Is he just gonna, dude, they were blitzing nonstop. They were just saying, okay, you better find somebody or you are going to get lit up. I thought he was gonna die yesterday. It was basically flashbacks of the playoff game against the Titans, which they won. But this time you have an injured Burrow. Burrow came to the Bengals and he changed the trajectory of that organization. I'll say he changed the trajectory of the city. And I know Bengals fans don't want to keep hearing this, but it's true. You still have the same idiots running the show, though. And to allow him to play, I know Joe Burrow is a competitor, and that's a great quality. But I don't know, Prano, at some point,
well, I think that
you have, real quick, you have 3 offensive touchdowns in 4 games. You mean to tell me this is what me and Justin Wood were texting about? I was like, we both agreed the Bengals backup couldn't have 3 touchdowns in 4 games while he gets healthy.
I think that, your criticism of the Bengals as a franchise overall can't go unsaid because, and this is what I was talking about with Justin, what I've talked about with Stolze, and what I've talked about with any other Cincinnati Bengals fans who have been reaching out to me as an unbiased opinion of what I think that the history of the Bengals franchise being terrible is why they're playing Joe Burrow because they're so afraid.
Good point.
Of going, oh my God, well, what if we just don't play Joe Burrow and then we go 4-13? Then it's just same old Bengals. Next thing you know, it's 20 years from now, and we haven't had a playoff win since the Joe Burrow year 3. I think that a well-run franchise that tastes success, even if it's every few years, even if it's every decade, something like that, that you have to be a good franchise. It can't just all ride on one player. Whereas I think the Bengals are like, man, we need Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is what brought success to the Bengals. And without Joe Burrow, we just go back to being the Bengals. And it's just like, that's not how you turn a franchise around. And that's exactly why I think that they're in this situation.
Well, that's a great point that I never thought of. But when you're down 27-3 and you're playing your guy in the 4th quarter, I'm just like, what is the, I don't think I've really seen that. I'm like, what is the plan here?
Yeah.
And I saw what Adam Schefter said today on McAfee's show. They asked that. They're like, well, dude, are they going to sit him? How can you? This isn't even an offense.
Who do they play this week?
They play Arizona in Arizona.
To me, it's like you got to bench him and if you can't beat Arizona with your backup, what the fuck are we talking about anyway?
Well, that's what I say. And anyway, Schefter said at least from the insider reports, he's going to keep playing through it. But it's like, dude, like that's to me where the coach and I don't know, the owner, whoever's, they have to just sit him down and say, look, man, I know you want to play. We just gave you $219 million guaranteed. You like this might not be the year, but we get you healthy again next year.
Right.
We're right back contending.
The counterpoint to what I said is obviously, like you said last week, if they go and they beat Arizona, they're 2-3, and they were 2-3 last year, and blah 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 blah. To me, if I'm the owner of the Bengals, if I'm the head coach of the Bengals, if I'm the GM, if I'm in any sort of decision making thing, I go, listen, we're a team that was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago. We are a contender as long as we have Joe Burrow and Joe Burrow is healthy.
I agree.
And no team right now that can't go out and beat the Arizona Cardinals with a backup is a contender. So we go out there and we do that, and we prove that we are a contender, and it helps us get Joe Burrow healthy, or it proves that we're not, and we just take our chances that we don't make the playoffs this year, we get Joe Burrow healthy, and we move on.
Do you remember what Jamar Chase said when he injured himself, or when Burrow injured his calf?
No.
And I don't feel like this is getting enough play or press. I mean, it's not getting enough play.
Enough play or press or pray, for that matter.
It's not getting any of it. Jamar Chase, and again, somebody's long history, not just professionally, college, he's on record, and everybody thought he was joking, and even I did, like, I don't think he was joking. He was on record saying, come back after the bye. We need Joe for the second half run. So they play Arizona, Seattle, then there's a bye. So, again, Chase was on record in the locker room saying, we need a healthy Joe for those last 10 games. I think he was right. Like,
yeah.
Again, imagine right now they're 1-3. They're probably the same record with the backup the whole time. And here's the thing. If they went into that bye 2-4, and then Burrow comes back healthy, we know what they can do. They can reel off a shit ton of wins with a healthy Burrow. But like this season, I'm going to go on record, and I know, here we go, Ruth or curse. I just don't see them making the playoffs. I know they're only 1-3, but like,
well, I would back that prediction based on they're going to keep playing Burrow.
That's my point.
If you're going to keep playing Burrow, what you're going to do is, I really don't care whether or not you win the next 2 games and you go to a bye. I don't think that gives them an opportunity to get healthy, and without a healthy Burrow, I just don't. I mean, look at how they're playing right now. Like, I had stuck. I'm on record as saying I think Vrabel's one of the great coaches in the NFL. And 2 weeks ago, I was like, oh, I can, like, we sleep on them. Why aren't we talking about them? And then last week they played so horribly that I'm like, there's only so much a great coach can do. I mean, look at the Patriots and Belichick right now. It's just like, I just don't think they're talented enough this year. Then they beat the shit out of the Bengals.
They wouldn't even be a game.
So if you're not going to sit Joe Burrow and get him rested, then I just think that I can't in good conscience pick a Bengals team to make a playoff with a hobbled Burrow in a tough division.
Yeah.
When they're already spotting everybody a couple games.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is, we all know my feelings. Again, I've changed my tune. Okay. The players like Taylor. I haven't changed my tune on calling the plays. It's like, dude, you've been exposed. And you don't have your safety blanket, your security blanket of a healthy Joe Burrow. Now that he's not healthy, do something. But then again, fans, you'll love this real quick. And then I want to move to some other teams and other games. Fans are still delusional. My buddy who I went to the Bengals game with a few weeks ago with his company seats, great seats. He's so optimistic. He bet me $100 after the game yesterday, the Bengals win 10 games. I said, dude, are you serious? I said they're over under. I didn't want to like steal his money. I go, their over under was 10.5 before the season started. They're 1-3 with the quarterback who can't even push off his legs.
It's kind of my favorite part about doing this show. And now that there's so many ways for dirtballs to express their opinion, there's like 11 different kinds of DMs. We have the Reddit page and whatever. Is like the shots that, I mean, you're obviously Bandy Andy, so you know you don't have like a flag in the ground as to what team you root for. But what's amazing to me is I'll just be called a over the top Giants homer. Meanwhile, I'm like, if the Giants lose tonight, Seattle, I think, or versus Seattle at home, I think their season's over. And that's knowing that ahead of us, we have Miami and Buffalo, which are obviously two basically impossible games for us to win. But also, I know that the schedule gets easier after that. The Giants go on a super easy tear after that. But I'm just not delusional. If you can't beat the Seattle Seahawks at home on a Monday night to get yourself to a halfway decent record before you have two tough games, your season's over. Meanwhile, every fan will be like, you fucking homer. And then every fan is also like, I don't know. I think the Broncos could still turn it around. I mean, somebody texted me the other day or DM me the other day, the Vikings will still win more of the games than the Giants. Like, dude, the Vikings stink. The Vikings barely beat the fucking Panthers.
I'll tell you what, man. That pick six was one of the greatest moments in Kirk Cousins' history. The fact that he threw a terrible red zone interception and then got absolutely lit up trying to make the play. That's an all-time Kirk Cousins moment.
I can't tell you enough about how much I enjoy Kirk Cousins, like the rest of the world finally seeing Kirk Cousins for what he is. It feels so good. They're like, it's like the Kirk Cousins is mediocre party. People walk in, they're like, how long have you been here? I'd be like, I've been here for 7 seasons. I mean, these hors d'oeuvres have gone bad a long time ago. I was waiting for you guys to arrive. The catering group left. They're like, are you sleeping here? But what's that?
Yeah, those picks were bad.
Yeah.
They were real bad. And I'll tell you what, man, Bryce Young, I know it's early. He's struggling. Like, of all the rookie QBs.
Did we single-handedly reverse the OSU curse? I mean, CJ Stroud looking like the best of the QBs.
He's balling out so far. 2 wins.
Yeah. I got to say, I've never been a big fan of the Texans franchise just in general. I mean, we went through the Bill O'Brien era. Funny enough, I am a David Carr defender. I was a David Carr truther back in the day. I was like, can the guy not get sacked 60 times in the year? And then maybe we'll see if he's any good. But Texans yesterday in the all reds. That was a fun look.
You like the all reds, huh?
Yeah. They're definitely going and celebrating at a Texas Roadhouse barbecue or whatever today. Some chain, the Houston Texans are out celebrating at some chain barbecue restaurant for sure.
You know what they should be doing?
What should they be doing?
They should be celebrating with some Butcher Box.
No doubt about it.
Right? I know they love that barbecue down in Texas. What you need to do is order some Butcher Box. You have it shipped right to your house. You don't got to leave your house. You don't got to go anywhere to buy it. That's what I love. It comes right to my front door. And I've been going to town with the Butcher Box lately. We did a pot roast recently. And then I've been doing I've been cooking some burgers with it on my Weber grill.
Oh yeah.
Which now is the perfect time, Dirtballs. If you want to get that high quality meat and seafood delivered right to your door, Butcher Box is giving all the listeners a special deal. Listen to this, Joe. If you sign up for Butcher Box today using code DIRTY, you receive ground beef for life. I didn't stutter there, guys. Life. Plus $20 off your first order. That's 2 pounds of ground beef free in every box for the lifetime of your membership, plus $20 off your first order when you sign up at butcherbox.com/dirty and use code DIRTY. Once again, that's butcherbox.com/dirty and use code DIRTY. Yeah, we might have reversed that jinx a little because he's playing well. CJ Stroud.
He's playing very well. I mean, it's very early. I'm not about to say that he's going to be a great NFL quarterback or whatever, but I think one of the shittier situations for a rookie quarterback, and he's looked the best by far. Anthony Richardson cannot stop taking horrific shots. Like, this is a guy, like, I don't know how he survived this long, to be totally honest with you. Bryce Young looks bad. CJ Stroud looks okay.
Yeah. Well, the thing about, I was reading a lot about Bryce Young. You know, in college, he could scramble out of the pocket. It's like these guys are just bigger, faster, stronger.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And the deep ball is he's not as accurate here. I don't know. I know his height was a concern coming in.
His height was a concern, but like, I always think that stuff's overdone, but only to a point is it overdone. Like, I think obviously being like that perfect QB build of big and tall is like, that's going to help. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's going to help you. Like, you know, if Charles Barkley were 6'11", he might be the greatest NBA player in history, you know, but, it does remind me of Drew Brees. I mean, Drew Brees played okay in San Diego, and then he found himself a great situation. Unfortunately for Bryce Young, when you're really great in college, you get drafted to terrible situations. And I think that when you combine that with his stature, it's going to be tough. Like, I think in a situation where he's actually getting protected, who knows? But that's also kind of the name of the game in the NFL. It's like, yeah, man, it's easy to hit open jump shots. You know, it's easy to be really good when you're protected and you have receivers who can get separation. At the same time, it's like, I always find it hard to judge guys that are in terrible situations.
Well, one of the biggest surprises for me, it might even be the biggest surprise so far, as we're 4 games in, is Baker Mayfield, man. The Bucs 3-1, and he's playing pretty damn good football. I didn't see that coming.
No, I mean, I when he had the game for the Rams last year, I was like, oh, I don't think Baker's done, but I didn't see them being 3-1, and their defense is playing well. Evans got hurt, so that's going to be a big factor moving forward. But yeah, I mean, can we talk about our boy with a one pitch performance in that game?
Your boy Jameis
comes in relief, throws one pitch, gives up a grand slam that gets hit out of the ballpark. Like, dude, 0 for 1 with a pick.
Jameis gonna Jameis, man.
It's kind of remarkable. I mean, I know it doesn't matter, and it's like, in the grand scheme of things, like, what do we think about the Bucs performance in that game, and conversely the Saints performance in that game? Like, are we judging the Saints at all based on a Derek Carr is injured situation, or do we think just the Bucs are the better team in the NFC South?
Well, right now the Bucs are, obviously. I just, the Saints D had played pretty damn well. Obviously they gave up some points yesterday. I like this Bucs storyline so far. Again, it is early. It's real early. I think it's going to be a toss-up right between these guys for the division. Now, the Jameis thing is hilarious, even though it's just a total side note. I like it because my curiosity level with Jameis 1-of-1, I can't wait to see what he does when Jameis is no longer in the NFL.
Well, I think the spin will just be the media ended the career of what could have been the greatest, like, whatever. Because I said to him, I'm not sure how much of our back and forth you saw, but, you know, if you read Jameis 1-of-1's book, and obviously I didn't even read it, I just skimmed through it, but his go-to thing for essentially 400 pages is where he ranked for his age. Fastest quarterback to 25 to do this, 24 to do this, 20 blah, blah. And it's now Jameis is 29 or whatever, and he's down below a lot of like mediocre quarterbacks on that list. And it's like, oh, suddenly that's not the end all and be all. How fast you do things. So yeah, like there's always going to be a spin.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But that's also what I said to him. I go, he's like, you have problems. I go, here's something you don't understand about me. You came into my mentions unprovoked. You came into my mentions, and what you don't know is you finally slid into some guy's mentions. You finally replied to the wrong guy. This guy doesn't give a fuck. He never forgets. He's never gonna let it go.
Never.
People say that to me all the time on shit like, oh, if you're so fucking successful, why are you still replying? Motherfucker, I don't put anything over continuing to reply to you until you finally fucking break. You think you're mentally ill because you won't let the Jameis thing go? I'm fucking mentally ill because not only will I not let it go, but I'm actually right.
Glad you said it though. I'm glad you confessed to being mentally ill.
Oh, when it comes to that shit, it's like because this is what makes sports media today horrible, but also makes sports media today like interesting. Is like there was a time when people just go out and be like hot take, hot take, hot take, hot take, hot take, hot take, hot take. And now it's like, yeah, remember when you fucking said this? Remember when you fucking said this? Remember like, you know, the like I said, our Reddit page, somebody said it the other day, anonymous Reddit poster said, Prano's quarterback takes, he just has a take in one hat and a quarterback's name in another, and he pulls them. I mean, the audacity to even say that to a guy. So is it the hat that's magic? Is it the hat that has some wizardry in it? These hats that I'm pulling out of? Just for 9 years of doing this show, my quarterback takes that seem preposterous just keep being fucking proven right. God, you're not always right. A magic hat.
I don't know. Hold on, you're not always right. What's that thought process for you? Like when someone comes at you,
what's the thought?
Are you just like, I will go back?
Oh yeah, because it's like because that's the great part about it. What I think people don't understand is they think that like they can say it because you won't reply, but then if you do, it's like you're not gonna shame me into not replying. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm a man of the fucking people. I'll get down in the mud and tell you you're fucking wrong 1,000 times.
Real quick, your audio is great. You've been paused, the video portion. You've been stuck on just you giving me the look of like, you motherfucker, which is kind of interesting.
You're paused on mine too, which is very weird. But so it sounds great. So we'll keep rolling with that.
The sound is great. So we're just going to be paused the rest of this episode.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see how this thing spins.
Who knows what's going on?
I've got the spinning wheel of death. If you,
oh, you have it?
Yeah, I have the rainbow wheel.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bad sign.
It is a bad sign. You're fucked. I don't have that. I don't have that at all. So I guess I assume it's coming from your end, but that's why I'm stuck on your end.
Yeah. You're also paused on mine. You should see your face that's paused on mine. Looks like you're either like you might be simultaneously jizzing and sneezing.
Do you want me to remove you from the stage and then you can come back in?
Well, hold on one second. Let's see if this works.
Say because I can remove you. I love how they call it the stage on StreamYard. And I can bring you back.
Sure.
In.
Give it a shot. See what happens.
I'm gonna remove you. All right, Perino's been removed. We'll try to re-add him and see if this works. I see him now. It's just blank. You there?
Hold on. Let's see. Oh, mine didn't even do anything. Like mine didn't even change. You're still jizzing and sneezing on my picture.
It's funny. Now it's just a blank screen, but I see you down below. But now it's just. Do you want to just restart your computer and I can go on some rant about some bullshit?
Sure. Let me see if I can get out of here and come back in. I'm not going to restart. I'm just going to see if I can re-enter. All right.
So one thing I did want to talk about to circle back to Joe Burrow is the Skyline curse. I've mentioned it before. I'm going to mention it again. Guys, Joe Burrow is on record, and I tweeted this yesterday, is on record saying how much he hates Skyline. It's truly amazing that he would have his worst season when they become the official chili sponsor of the Cincinnati Bengals. He's been on record not only on podcasts, he's been on record tweeting. He tweeted this in 2018. Just a reminder that Skyline is terrible. That is all. He's been on record multiple times saying he hates it. So I don't find that a coincidence, right? Again, the Bengals stick with Gold Star for 21 years. At the tail end of that, they go to a Super Bowl. They go to another AFC championship. Joe Burrow has never said a word about Gold Star. He just says how much he hates Skyline. The Bengals say, we don't care what our star quarterback, what our franchise leading quarterback, the guy who saved our entire city, we don't care what he thinks. We are going to chase that Skyline money and make them the official sponsor. And look what's happened since. I'm just saying, the Skyline curse is legit. And they're dealing with the repercussions. Let's see if we got Prano back.
Am I back?
You back.
I don't even know what the fuck that was.
Swifties, man.
Probably. Honestly, it was probably just like a dirtball that whose opinion I've smacked down that's got some hacking abilities.
I really don't think that we have a crossover with dirtball and Swifties. I'm going to stick to that.
What? Let me ask you. So you think then that the anger toward me is just like, I guess here's something I don't really understand about our show, just generally. And I know you've dealt with this a lot too. It's like you'll get into a disagreement with a dirtball, and then they'll be like, yeah, well, you're just a fucking 40-year-old podcaster fucking living in your fucking basement, fucking living in Savage Town. What is it with fans of a show that also, like, there's nothing that I watch where I hate the people who do it. Like, I don't have that. Like, when I turn on a show, I'm like, oh, I hate that actor. I'm just not going to watch this. Like, what is it? What do you think it is about our show where it's like, people listen to every single episode and then just like actually dislike us?
I don't know if that's necessarily true. The dislike. I know that you've heard the Howard Stern thing, right? Back in the day when he was on radio.
But there's so many podcasts to have out there now.
No, I know, but you know, back in the day, they'd say, I don't know what the stat was. This is way before Sirius XM, that the percentage of people who listened to Howard Stern or thought he was offensive was extremely high. I think a lot of it's people want to have an I got you moment.
But it's like,
as far as it take, right?
I wonder sometimes, like, how much lack of self-awareness you have. Like, let's say you're a dirtball and you come in and you dunk on me for like where I am in life, right? You're like, you're just like a 44-year-old fucking podcaster. It's like, bro, and you're just a guy who listens to that. You're like, imagine thinking that you're dunking on a guy and you're a devoted follower of. Like, I think I'm winning.
Yeah, I don't understand that take. I mean, look, obviously things can get personal, but there's going to be people who don't like you. There's going to be people who don't like me. I mean, it is what it is, right?
Sure.
My thing is, I just don't, like, at this point, I'm just like, I don't got time for this shit.
my thing is also just like, I love that you think you know more. Go start a podcast, bro. Go start the Kirk Cousins is awesome podcast. Like, see who listens. Go write a 400-page book about Kirk Cousins. Be the next Jameis. Be Kirk 1 of 1.
I really
have the whole internet be like, you're a fucking idiot loser.
I kind of hope somebody does that. Kirk 1 of 1. There's got to be a giant cross on the cover of that book. I know, but like, my thing about like the dirtballs is that they're engaging because they know you're going to engage back, right?
Oh, great. Yeah, but that see, I think that's what
let me put it this way. I
makes me
know
special, Andy.
I know there's a lot of dirtballs who probably are like, fuck Ruther, he sucks, or
Yeah.
I don't like Ruther.
Like Dave Chappelle's not going to see your comment and call you a dumb cunt. I am. That's the difference, man.
I was gonna say I don't get it because they know they're like Ruther's like playing Papa Shot, whatever the fuck he does. He's not gonna respond to like terrible shitty take Ruther or whatever.
But here's the thing: everybody sees it, guys. Everybody sees it, and this like game, this thing where like people in the media or celebrities or whatever try to pretend, oh, I got so much going on, I can't reply. Fuck, it doesn't take any time at all for me to tell you you're a dumb bitch. Like I do it while I'm waiting for fucking my plane to board. I wait while I'm fucking sitting around doing nothing. Like I got all the time in the world to tell you your takes are fucking terrible.
And they'll come back, and then it turns into a whole thing.
Yeah, here I am. You know what I have on my side? Being right. That's what makes it glorious.
Do you ever been wrong?
I've been wrong about a lot of things. I've been wrong about a lot of things.
You were wrong about that over under.
I
had to post as a joke. You were
What?
like, take the under hard.
Well, yeah. I mean, first of all, I've been wrong on 1,000 predictions in terms of like, listen, to make a prediction, gambling predictions. If you're making 60% of your predictions right, you're getting rich. So, I mean, 40%. If you want to dunk on people for, they picked this game wrong, or they missed this game, or they picked Joe Burrow to be the MVP or whatever, it's like, dude, predictions. I'm not even ever talking about that shit. Like, I don't even, if you come at me about that, like, I literally ignore you because it's like, okay, let me tell you something. If you're going 75% on your gambling picks, why are you even replying to this? Why you should be living in you're on your own island. So the idea of being wrong on sports predictions is ludicrous. I'm talking about like takes, especially on players or on teams or what they're going to do. It's like, yeah, sure. Did I say that this team wouldn't win the Super Bowl and then they did? I said the fucking Eagles were going to win a playoff game and then they won the Super Bowl with Nick Foles. Yeah, sure. I've been wrong. That's not what I'm talking about. Coming at me and being like, fucking Prano doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He just hates Russell Wilson. Why the fuck do I hate Russell Wilson? There's no reason for me to hate Russell Wilson.
He's a very unlikable guy.
Yeah, but that was before, by the way. By the way, the rest of the world joined me in thinking fucking Russell. But like, guys, I've been here. Oh, Russell Wilson's suddenly trash. Guys, it didn't happen overnight. I tried to tell you. No one would listen to me.
You know, he actually hasn't played a terrible year. It's like just the team sucks.
Yeah.
The defense
and he didn't have an MVP year. He's just on a team that was really good.
You know who I really like right now is the Niners, man. I mean, not exactly a hot take, but I just like how Purdy is almost settling into that situation. Obviously, McCaffrey had a great game.
Dude, the Purdy situation at this point is like, it's the Goff Rams, man. He doesn't even have to do anything. Dude, I would say on the majority of fucking third and longs they have to convert, he doesn't even throw the ball over the line of scrimmage. I mean, the amount of times he's throwing a swing pass to McCaffrey, or he's throwing a screen to Deebo Samuel, or he's throwing a 4-yard out to Kittle, who's then running over a guy. It's like they don't even make him drive the ball downfield to convert.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, this is where you go back to the whole thing. It's like, all right, Tom Brady, freak, fucking, mental gifts or whatever. Like, I don't think Brock Purdy should have been a first-round pick and everybody just whiffed on him. Like, there's a reason, but he's not being asked to do anything. And they're so absolutely stacked defensively. And then they have so many weapons on offense that can just get the ball in their hands and make things happen.
But see, like, to me, they right now, and I know they haven't won a Super Bowl, but they are the model franchise. You know why they're the model franchise? Because they don't have a Mahomes. And you look at what they've done as far as building a team, again, with the guy who was a third stringer. It's just amazing that they haven't really missed a beat the last few years. You can't say this about anyone. And it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. Can you say that about any other team? It doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. They are going to be in Super Bowl contention.
I think adding Christian McCaffrey last year was just like that takes them over the top. And it's, to me, it's kind of crazy like that they weren't in the conversation to get the Aaron Rodgers, that they weren't in the conversation to make moves for these quarterbacks, the guys that they've talked about. Because Brock Purdy, he looks great. But like you said, they haven't won it. And that position is just so damn important. Brock Purdy, like, you're going to get confidence, and winning games helps. I mean, like, it goes back to the Brady thing. Like, if Brady had gotten drafted by the Browns, who knows where we'd be today?
Yeah.
Would the Pats have any rings? Would Brady have any rings? Would Brady be in the fucking league? Who knows? He got, like, when you win games, you get used to it. You start playing well. Like, but the question is, I mean, Brock Purdy got hurt in his first fucking playoff game. Like, can he get through the gauntlet of good playoff teams? Could he beat a Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Could he whatever? I think that they're talented enough that he could.
They won. They beat the
Cowboys.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got hurt in the
Eagles game.
In the Eagles game. How do we feel about the Lions at this point? Lions look really good on Thursday.
Yeah. How do we feel about them? I think I feel about them the same way as I felt about them to start the year, which is I, unlike Andy Ruther, predicted them to win the NFC North. And I still think them winning a playoff game is a coin flip.
Yeah. Well, I have a bet that they won't. But I mean, they're playing some nice football now. I mean, they were blowing the shit out of the Packers in Lambeau Thursday night. I don't know. That's what's so crazy about this league is, it's just such week to week, right?
And that's where, like, it's amazing too how the opinions, like, so are the Dolphins are not Super Bowl favorites. Tua is not going to win the MVP. Now suddenly Josh Allen's going to win the MVP. It's like, no, but everybody like that's the thing about being a talking head in the sports business these days. It's just like you kind of embarrass yourselves when you do that, right? Kind of embarrass yourselves when, like, every week we have a new fucking hot take. It's like, it's week one. The Giants got blasted by the Cowboys. Cowboys might look like the most complete team in the league. Giants are a dumpster fire. You're like, why do you guys do this to yourself? No one's got a gun to your head saying you have to predict the Super Bowl after week one. Well, Cowboys lost to the fucking Cardinals, and the Miami Dolphins won by 70. Clearly, the Dolphins are the best team in all of football, and Tua's going to win the MVP. You don't have to do this to yourselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, McCaffrey, if you had picked the MVP today, probably voting, people would probably say Christian McCaffrey. Again, we're only 4 games in. I don't know. It's crazy though, man. A lot can happen, as we know. Especially, you go on a few, these teams, again, you go on a few losses, few wins. It changes a whole season. To me, unlike any other sport, or as far as, I'd probably say culture. I just feel like culture matters so much in the NFL and changing it, right? From like these franchises. And I just think it's not easy to change a shitty franchise in the same way a good franchise.
Yeah.
I mean, my point is like I brought up San Francisco, right? As a model. Then they had some lean years. Right. Some real lean years. But like I'm saying, overall, let's just go back to Montana. I know that's a long stretch. Like, they're a model franchise.
Yeah. I mean, they've won Super Bowls in the 80s. They won Super Bowls in the 90s. In the 2000s, they played in the Super Bowl
twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. Let us know, guys. Give us a ring. 310-359-8255. 8365. Come see us in New Orleans. We are all set. I did see this on Reddit. You have like a loose itinerary.
Yeah, a little loose itinerary coming together. I mean, there's going to be a lot of leeway in there for dirt balls to explore New Orleans, which I recommend that they do on their own. And then there's going to be times where we've got sort of penciled in sort of open gym, if you will. But it seems like, I mean, you arrive in the evening on Friday, correct?
I think around like 7:30.
Yeah.
8-ish.
And I get in a little bit earlier. So it's like Friday's kind of arrival. It seems like Port of New Orleans Brewing Co., which is pretty close to where we're going to be staying off of Magazine Street, is open until 10. So it's like a 8 to 10 p.m. meet up there. And then Friday night, it's just like go explore New Orleans. Let's go out, bar crawl, hit some places, get some cocktails to go. Who knows? Maybe stumble into a live music venue. Saturday, we're going to get up. You know, I'm sure everybody will be hungover. I'm 44 now. I have a joke about my hangovers. It's going to be tough, but you know, try to get up by midday. Anybody that's going to New Orleans for the first time has got to go to Cafe Du Monde, get the beignets, get some chicory coffee. And then, you know, do we roll into an afternoon cocktail or two somewhere? I might do one or two, but dirt balls are certainly going to have to go out there, get their pregame podcast on. Then we're going to be at Comedy House New Orleans at 4:00 for the 1000th Dirty Sports podcast. Pizza Starro is going to be in town. Andy Lazarus is going to be in town. Randy Ruther is going to be in town. Will Eli Manning be making a appearance on the podcast? I don't know. Will some other New Orleans celebrity be making a podcast appearance?
Ed Orgeron. Did you see the pictures I posted?
Don't even get me started. I almost tweeted it, but I didn't want to trigger any more Swiftie dirt balls. But I was like, this is kind of my point. I mean, Ed Orgeron's on the sidelines. He's a 70-year-old man. He's walking around with hotter chicks than Taylor Swift.
I got that tip from a dirtball who was at the game. Ed's just getting all handsy.
Yeah. Ed's 70, doesn't have a tenth of the money Travis Kelce has. He's like, look at me, I bang nines. And you're like, all right. I picked her up while I was pumping gas. I saw her over there. I was like, you a hot piece of ass. You want to go to a high school football game with me?
I would love to get Coach O on that. Yeah, guys, come out to New Orleans. It'll be a blast.
2 stand-up shows at 7:00 and 9:00, and then Saturday night. Woo-wee! We're gonna do New Orleans, right? Probably stumble onto Bourbon Street. Little dirty sports dirtball march down Bourbon Street. Hit some of the.
Can I have the baton?
Yeah, hit some of the crazy late night Bourbon Street spots, and then Sunday morning I've got a 10-live little Central City barbecue. It's right in the shadows of the Caesar Superdome. We go there, get a little barbecue breakfast, have a couple cocktails, mosey on over to the game, watch the game, and then from there, Sunday night, we do it up.
Nice.
There's a couple of things that like these are must-dos, and then there's holes for dirtballs to explore New Orleans, which I hope they all do. Dylan Mata put in there something about a group chat. Like I've got that Reddit page as kind of like a center point, but if dirtballs want to be in a group chat, like follow Mata or go to that Reddit page and click on Mata saying he can. It would be great if we could have a dirtball point man to talk to all the dirtballs. Because like, listen, I'm not texting each and every one of you guys. I don't want to be in a group chat with each and every one of you guys, but like perhaps we could have a dirtball point man and I could be like, we're going here, and he could send that bat signal to the group. But maybe it's just a Reddit page. So I don't know. You guys all sort it out. But sound off on that Reddit. If you're coming, sound off on that Reddit so we can get you all there. I believe we've sold a lot of tickets. You can buy your tickets, Comedy House NOLA. Get your tickets to the podcast. Get your tickets to the show. Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else?
Oh, well, I'll be in Comedy Key West all this weekend. If you're in South Florida, take a drive down to the Keys. I'll be doing some Jimmy Buffett tourism, paying homage to the late, great Jimmy B. shows at Comedy Key West this Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday before I hop in the car early on Sunday morning, drive back up to the Miami area to go to Giants at Dolphins. I know we're going to get our ass kicked. They're going to score 100 points on us. Tua is going to be the MVP. We'll see. And then after that, back in LA for a while, shows in and around Los Angeles. If you're a Southern California dirtball, we're doing another stand-up comedy show at the Minimal Golf Club, which friend of the show, former sponsor of the show. It's great. They have golf simulators. They got a half pipe. We're going to do an awesome comedy show there. End of October, I'll be in Las Vegas, October 30th to November 5th, making my debut at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club, and then Giants at Raiders. Going to be there for that before we go to New Orleans in December. So, guys, follow me on all social media. Like all our shit on social media at Dirty Sports, at Joe Prano. By Surely You Can't Be Serious. The story of Airplane. Story of the making of Airplane.
Yeah, definitely go get that, guys. It's a great read.
And I, as I said, do a lot of the voice work on the audiobook. So listen in your car if you're a fan of Joe Prano, or if you hate Joe Prano, but you just listen to him twice a week anyway.
Real quick. Zach Taylor announces Joe Burrow will start against Arizona. Well,
Zach Wilson greater than Zach Taylor?
God, what a train wreck. We got to get out of here, but I'll tell you what, like, as a guy who just loves quarterbacks, I want to see them healthy. I want to see them playing. It doesn't matter if it's Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, Mahomes. You know, you want to see a healthy quarterback. What they're doing is an abomination. I'm just going to say it. It's disgusting. And definitely I'm more biased being from here, but it's like, come the fuck on. You guys are a dumpster fire. Justin, put that on your new podcast. I'm sure you're going nuts about it. All right, guys, that's our show. Thanks for sticking with us. We'll be back on Thursday. Have a great week. And as always, stay dirty.